Welcome into the Michigan Football Report. I am your host, as always, James Yoder. We are going to talk Michigan football transfers with Joe Milton entering the transfer portal. We'll get into a little spring football practice here later on in the show. But if you missed it earlier, Joe Milton put on Twitter that he is going to leave the University of Michigan's football program. You see it up there on the screen, basically thanking Jim Harbaugh, talking about the bond he made with his teammates, and shout out to him. He graduated and will graduate from the University of Michigan and enter a new school with 3 years of eligibility, which is pretty cool. He played 3 years at Michigan because of the coronavirus-related eligibility rules. He'll still have 3 years of eligibility to take his talents to another school. Maybe a small school in Florida, maybe an SEC, ACC school will take a flyer on him. But it does leave Michigan in a little bit of a conundrum, not much depth. Really only 2 true scholarship quarterbacks, recruited scholarship quarterbacks in Cade McNamara and J.J. McCarthy, although Dan Villari technically is on scholarship. What is Michigan missing with Joe Milton in 2021 and beyond? Well, he's the guy that they named their starting quarterback. He's the player that they rolled out there and scared off Dylan McCaffrey, made him transfer. And frankly, it's not just Joe Milton. I've got a couple stats here to shock you. This is now the 6th quarterback to transfer under Jim Harbaugh in 6 seasons as Michigan's coach. All right, how about that one? 4 starting quarterbacks at the University of Michigan have transferred under Jim Harbaugh. Shane Morris, right? Wilton Speight, okay? Brandon Peters, and now Joe Milton. Now, all those guys weren't the full-time starter, the opening day starter, but they were named the starter by the head coach at one point in their career. Morris was done before Jim Harbaugh arrived, but nevertheless, Peters went on to Illinois, multi-year starter. Morris went on to Central Michigan, Speight went on to UCLA, and Joe Milton will now go and play, but presumably he'll find a place that will give him the opportunity to start for 2 or 3 seasons. So a lot of starting years being left on the table for Michigan quarterbacks under Jim Harbaugh. But I ask you guys this question: what is your one-word reaction to Joe Milton deciding to transfer? I'm just going to go with expected, but we wish him well in the future. So go down in the comments. I'm going to pin this one. Let me know your answer. One-word reaction to Joe Milton transferring. Take a look at Joe Milton's stats. Pretty pedestrian. Was the talk of college football. Had me thinking Heisman and National Championship. I'll admit it right now after that Minnesota game to start the year, but that was the highlight of his Michigan football career, and it kind of all went downhill from there. So with Joe Milton exiting Michigan's program, this is a stat you've got to think about. No Jim Harbaugh-recruited quarterback in 6 seasons has made it to his 4th year in the program. That's pretty shocking to think about, okay? Alex Malzone came in that first class with Harbaugh. Then you, of course, had Brandon Peters, then Dylan McCaffrey, and Joe Milton. Cade McNamara is going to be entering his 3rd year. J.J. McCarthy will be entering his 1st year. So McNamara potentially could be the first one. But Jim Harbaugh's reputation as a quarterback whisperer is out the window at this point. They put their cards in Joe Milton. They put all their eggs in the basket with Joe Milton. Didn't work out. And now you're going to turn to 4-star quarterback in Cade McNamara or a 5-star in J.J. McCarthy, but neither one has proven anything on the college level. McNamara, a half of a game of good football played against Rutgers, but that is what Michigan is dealing with. We'll talk about the depth chart and spring practice here in a minute, but before we do, let me know where you think Joe Milton will play in 2021. I'm not sure if it's going to be a Power 5 school program, but it might. But it potentially could be somewhere like South Florida. Could be, UCF, somewhere like that. A Group of 5 school that maybe doesn't have the quarterback depth or has lost a player or two themselves, what might give Milton the opportunity to start. But as far as I know, he will be in Michigan. He won't go and transfer and be in spring practice anywhere. He will be in Michigan virtually in school this spring to finish out his education, and then he will transfer probably end of April, early May to be there for the summer, and then next fall where he'll be immediately eligible to play somewhere else in 2021. So let me know below where you think he will play. Best of luck to Joe Milton. A lot of hype, not a ton of production. Hope the next coach was able to put you in a better position than Michigan's offensive coordinator, Josh Gadash, and their new quarterbacks coach, Jim Harbaugh, were in your 3 seasons at Michigan. But with Milton, a thing in the past as far as Michigan football is concerning, this is my expected depth chart as Michigan will start spring practice. If you didn't see this announced a couple nights ago, Tuesday night, Michigan will actually start spring practice on Monday. It's the second earliest they've ever started spring practice in the history of the school, second only behind Jim Harbaugh's first year in 2015. I think they're doing it for a couple reasons I'll talk about in a second. But Cade McNamara, I'm projecting to be your starter, taking the first snaps. J.J. McCarthy will get every opportunity to compete for that starting job. And then Dan Villari, who, if he is ever your starting quarterback in Michigan, I think Michigan is in a world of hurt. He probably would have been Michigan's quarterback had they played the Illinois game, had they played the Ohio State game, the Big Ten Championship Week game, whatever that was, or a bowl game. You might have had to roll with Villari with Joe Milton reportedly having some sort of injury. But with spring practice starting Monday, this show is going to get back up and rolling. I'm going to be out of town Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday next week, so probably Thursday, Friday, into the weekend, we'll have some more content for you here on the Michigan Football Report, so make sure you subscribe. So I'm going to ask you guys this. We'll know a lot on Monday, a lot on Tuesday, probably Wednesday. Who is taking the snaps at QB1, but who will get that first start in the 2021 season at home against Western Michigan, leading into Game 2 against a Washington team that will probably be ranked in the top 15 or 20 in the country. So that's a big-time matchup for whichever one of these guys gets the starting nod. Go down, type JJ or type Cade in the comments. I'll comment this from the channel too, so if you want to reply to that, go for it if you want. It's an interesting QB battle. The one thing Michigan can absolutely not have is J.J. McCarthy win the job and it be such a big gap that Cade McNamara just decides to transfer. Because that potentially could happen, right? If a guy 2 years younger than him gets the starting nod in spring and it's clear to everybody it's not close, if McNamara were to transfer, Michigan would have absolutely no depth. So I think Michigan should be very active in looking for let's just call it an education-driven transfer quarterback in the portal, someone who's probably coming as a grad transfer with limited expectations to start. Think a Gardner Minshew, a guy like that. Now, he got the starting job at Washington State, but he was originally going to go to Alabama and be part of the program, hoping to get a coaching job after he graduated, after he spent a year in Alabama's program as a grad transfer. So someone who maybe was second or third string at another school, looking to potentially move on, get some tutelage, maybe go into coaching, whatever it is. But I don't think Michigan can go into the 2021 season with only two true scholarship quarterbacks in McNamara and McCarthy. So I think Michigan should definitely get active once the spring football season period is over, and guys who are at other schools going to go into spring practice and say, hey, I'm not going to get the starting job. I'm graduating. Let's just see if I can go play another year or two somewhere else. Maybe further my education by getting a master's degree from a school like Michigan. That could happen. If Michigan doesn't, though, they are one injury away from being on as thin of ice you can when it comes to quarterback depth. So Jim Harbaugh, if you're watching, which I know that you are, please make sure you are all over the transfer portal after April, after the semester's over. Grab a grad transfer. Make sure you've got somebody competent if you have an injury or two, or if someone like Cade McNamara decides to transfer if he is not getting the starting job. So you know the quarterbacks are going to be probably, the new coaching staff that is really young and is making some noise out there in the recruiting trail. But predict Michigan's 2021 record, 12 games on the schedule. If you haven't seen it, it's all over the internet now. They kind of moved a few games around for Michigan. 3 out of conference games, one of them being probably a ranked Washington team. They'll have Wisconsin. They'll have Penn State. They'll have Michigan State. End the year, as always, at home versus Ohio State. Predict their 12-game record down in the comments. I hate to be Debbie Downer, but I'm going to go with 6-6 as it stands today, and I hope that Michigan proves me wrong. That's all for us today, folks. If you haven't yet, make sure you hit this button, subscribe to the Michigan Football Report, the #1 spot on YouTube for all Michigan football news and rumors. And if you want some more Michigan football content, toss a couple more videos for you right here and right here. We'll see you back here soon. Go Blue.